Hello, good morning, and welcome to the program. I'm Ayo Makinde. This is Sunrise Daily. Don't worry, I'm not alone on the show today. As usual, Mawakwe Ogun Yusuf is with us, and she'll be joining us in a bit. Now, just to let you know that the temperature in Lagos is looking something like 27 degrees right now, has a potential to rise up to 30 degrees later in the day in Lagos. Of course, we'll be hearing what's happening in other parts of the country. But of course, the major issue in the news on the front pages this morning is Benue State. Don't forget that the president personally made a statement that he's going to suspend his visit to another state just so he can personally visit Benue and know what is happening and what needs to be done right there. Well, those issues are going to be going on today. Good morning, Mwapwe.
Well, indeed, it's a wonderful morning here at 24 degrees, and it does appear that we have the possibility of a storm coming into the Federal Capital Territory. I hope it will be for good, because people have been wondering, where is the rain? It's the rainy season. We see the clouds, but we hardly see any rain. Good morning to our viewers. Welcome to your daily dose of sunshine, regardless whatever the weather is. I'm Mawakwe Ogun Yusuf. And yes, you're right, Ayo, we're still keeping the focus on Benue. I think that as a result of some presidential movement anticipated, there was a bit of traffic along the airport corridor this morning, especially inwards to the city. But I believe that the traffic officials are right on their job, and they'll make sure that passage is as smooth and easy for residents and workers who are commuting into the city. But yes, we're keeping matters on Benue. And yesterday, the CDS, it does appear that the CDS hasn't quite left the Benue state. He's still there. Yesterday, there was a meeting between himself and traditional rulers from the different parts of Benue who converged on the capital, Makurdi, to discuss ways to put an end to this conflict. And it does appear that after that meeting, leaders from Benue were quite satisfied with the meeting, at least so they said, especially since a lot of it, we were not privy to it. What we're privy to was the opening statement, and afterwards it was a closed-door session. Well, afterwards, when they got out, they did tell us that they were quite satisfied and they were happy with the visit of the CDS. But here's what we caught on camera for you.
Converged on Makurdi, the state capital, for a meeting with the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. The meeting, which is at the instance of the Defense Chief, is part of the revised security strategy to enlist community response on early warning signs and collaborations to tackle attacks on Benue communities.
It is only when we are together.
The CDS urges the traditional rulers to deal with the suspected criminal elements in their domains as it pushes for the profiling of credible youths for military training for self-protection under the supervision of the military.
I want to assure you that we're together. No member of the armed forces is going to be anywhere against one. If we notice anybody that is there, we are ready to prosecute that person. But we are going to count on your support so that we can be able to achieve and work together. We must achieve together. Communities like this, we have civilian JTF. The communities were the ones that were able to identify youths that were capable, and we know of their character. The DSS and the police profile them to make sure that they don't have any criminal record, and we give them some level of training to protect communities.
After the opening session, the meeting goes into a closed-door session. At the end of the meeting, the traditional rulers launched the initiative, promising to do their part.
All has been said is to build trust amongst ourselves. He has come with a very, very clear mandate to his people. He has said it, and we believe him, and we trust that from now going forward, peace will return to Benue.
The traditional institution has promised the CDS that information is vital, and at all times, we'll make sure our people provide the necessary information to them to do their work properly. We appreciate his coming.
Meanwhile, Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State visits his Benue State counterpart, Governor Hyacinth Alia, at the Government House. He is received by the Deputy Governor as they settle down to talk about the Yelwata killings, the peace moves, and a donation of 150 million naira to support displaced persons.
Apart from the fact that innocent people were killed, and since innocent people were killed, we should collectively condemn these criminals for the act they continue to commit. This time around, we will use whatever it takes and fish out the main causes of these problems and resolve them once and for all.
It is important that we work together and defeat these agents of darkness who are determined to abridge the peaceful coexistence that we have enjoyed, particularly since you became governor of Nasarawa State.
With these interventions ahead of the president's visit, the deployment of all the service chiefs, including the Inspector General of Police, the people of Benue State expect some lasting solutions.
Well, let's have conversation around this unfortunate incident that's continued to generate attention all over the place, practically all over the country, with two people joining us this morning. Josephine Haba is Director General, Benue Peace and Reconciliation Commission, joins us virtually from Makurdi, as well as Victor Bembu Aleva, who is President, Zuyu Tiv, United Kingdom, Motuk, also joins us from the UK. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, Ayo. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me begin with the Director General. Okay, so, I would like to begin with you, Mr. Aleva. Now, the issues we're hearing now, I mean, you're far away in the UK. First of all, when this news hit, what was your first impression? Is this something that came to you as strange, or is this something that you feared could happen, given the history?
Good morning, Bakwe. Good morning, Ayo, and good morning, Nigerian. It's quite a sad one because it's not surprising to some of us who have followed the trajectory of what's happening back home over time. I grew up in that state, and I can say emphatically that we are not surprised. And when I hear people make some certain comments about farmers' headers clash, it sounds very ridiculous. We are not politicians, so we stand a better chance to tell it the way it is, what it is. It is a calculated attempt aimed at exterminating the Tiv people of the Middle Belt region. That is it. So let me say a little bit. Before we start talking about farmers' header clashes, we should go back to the historical perspective. Over the past century, we've had issues. There was, from 1803 to 1904, a jihad in Nigeria. The jihad led into the killings of so many persons and taking over of lands in northern Nigeria, and terminated in the Benue Valley, where our people stood up to resist that jihad. It's a long-term hatred, nothing more. And there are so many questions some of us will ask. When we talk about Fulani herdsmen, farmers' clashes, how many Fulanis have been killed? How many cows have been killed? When we talk about clashes, it's clashes about going into people's farms, killing them, murdering women, raping women, killing children, burning them up, and occupying lands. I can give you a few examples. If you look at way west, for example, go to the village of Ahume and Ondana. It's occupied by these expansionists. It's occupied. Go to Benue Zone C in the Agatu area. Completely occupied. Most villages are occupied. So if it's about only headers clashes, or header farmer clashes. So why are these people occupying our lands? So we are not going to be politically correct, but this is the fact. It's a deliberate attempt, calculated hatred over the past century to come and take revenge on our people.
Who would disagree with you, Mr. Leva? Just 1 second, if you can hear me. Yeah, there are some people who would disagree with you because we also hosted guests on this program who have told us that there was peace between among all the people that lived there, that even the so-called farmer herders would come into the community bearing gifts for the people of the community over time until recently. But let me speak with Ms. Haba, the Director General of Benue Peace and Reconciliation Commission. Now, a number of people have said all kinds of things, but particularly talking about extermination. And this has gone on for too long, and it keeps people wondering what exactly is going on. How can there be peace and reconciliation if such things, as you just heard Mr. Aleva say, are still on, the opinion that people are still holding?
Yeah, and thank you very much for hosting me. Exactly my point. How can you have peace building or reconciliation where there are unresolved conflicts or crises? Now, everyone reacts just like what we're seeing right now. There's a lot of reactions when conflict or crisis happen. But in terms of digging deep to ensure that we have the opportunity to really dig out the real cause or the real issue that brought us to where we are. And I'm very grateful you mentioned the fact that you hosted other people who said, in time past, we actually had friends. Growing up as a child, I had friends with Fulani women who were selling nono, that they will come to the house, give me nono or oil, and I give them gifts from my end. We played. They called us kings, and we had a common joke that said you are a slave and either of that. This has been lost, maybe because of the incidents that have really not been dug out on why this is happening. My brother spoke and said it's a long-time hatred. Of course, if it's a long-time hatred, what the reason for the long-time hatred, has it been addressed? And I think that because we have been treating symptoms and not looking at the root cause, is the reason why we're at.
So what, madam, is the root cause?
We can do every other thing.
What is the root cause, if you can hear me?
The root cause. Say again.
What is the root cause that you're talking about?
Now, this is what I'm saying. We can assume, we can and speak about what we think, but the root cause of what the conflicts are here, I beg to be corrected. I don't know anyone who has put up a blueprint to say, we have dug in, we have investigated, and this is the root cause of the challenges in Benue. It's been many, many years. We only talk about the jihad. We talk about farmers and herders. There are crises in Benue State for crying out loud that have lasted 78 years. Every crisis springs out something, another crisis. And for me, it's important to know that we need a national convention, a national peace summit, a national engagement to ascertain the fact that this isn't just about come in and grace and go. No, there is something we have not dug out. And for me, I think that I don't want to assume again. I think we need to dig out the root cause and then escalate it and maybe scandalize it. And then we may be able to sit down and begin to talk about peace building or reconciliation.
All right, let me come to you, Mr. Aleva, just before my colleague, Maokwa, will come in. The president is visiting Yelwata today, and, well, Benue State. Maybe he will go to Yelwata or not, we'll find out soon enough. And he's billed to hold a town hall and listen to all shades of opinion in the state. What are your hopes? Do you have any hope? Because there's report out there that some people are believing that hopefully the visit of the president would put pay to all of these problems. Do you share similar optimism, Mr. Aleva?
I don't. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. That's what I want to say. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. Now, if you go back to, this is not the first time that has happened. No. We had similar killings in 2018, just by the eve of the new year. Many people were killed. The then President Buhari ordered the General Police and other security agencies to relocate to Benue State, and equally visited. After all those pageantry and the rest, what came out of it? Nothing. Politicians will only seize the opportunity for political reasons. We have to actually go to the root cause. What is the problem? All these things you see about people peddle around about, it's not going to work. So I have no hope in his visit. He's only going there. It's just like a reaction to what has happened. Our security agencies, they wait. When something happens, they run to the villages and secure it. Who are you securing? How many of these persons have been brought to book by the federal government? And there's something I just want to say, Ayo, that is very troubling to me. When you look at what has been happening, whether in Benue, Plateau, and the rest places, I see some top persons in government, they come around and say, oh, these are not the Fulanis we know, and these are foreigners and whatever. Some critical questions should be asked. The first question would be, who controls the immigration? I'm the United Kingdom here, president here. So we know how things are done. Who controls immigration? So you allow all manners of people, crazy people, murderers, pour into your country, and you go about saying, oh, these are normal. That's just an excuse. Secondly, who controls the use of arms? People are carrying AK-47, but when you see an innocent Benue man decide to, okay, let me defend myself with just a dim gun, they will immediately be arrested by the police and charged. So why can't we control this free flow of arms? So I don't see anything good or to come out from the visit. Then let's give President Tinubu a benefit of doubt. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm very convinced that nothing good will come out of it.
All right. My colleague in Abuja, Malkwe, would like to join the conversation. Go ahead, Malkwe.
You know, I can understand your depression, Mr. Aleva. It is really heartbreaking. It is heart-wrenching to just continue to see these attacks over and over and over again. It's been in the news for now, for years. I mean, as long as I have been on this program, it does appear that every year we have spoken of crisis in either Benue or Plateau State. And it is really, really heart-wrenching indeed. However, let me go to Madam Josephine Haba, because we've seen attempts like this in sister states. As a matter of fact, Plateau State did have a commission like this during the time. I don't know whether it's still in existence, whether it is still functional, during the time of Simon Lalong as governor of Plateau State. And it does appear that Plateau was quiet for a while. And now it does appear that attacks have, in fact, they resumed just before he left office as governor. So sometimes people say, people impute political motives to this. But Benue, it rarely experiences quietness. Sometimes, yes, there are seasons, there are moments of quietness, but other times, you know, we hear of these attacks. Sometimes they're just underreported. Maybe they're not as, you know, as, I don't want to say significant, because every human life ought to be significant. But when you look at, you know, the numbers that we're seeing, even though the state government says it's 59, and we don't know whether that count has been updated. But what we did hear initially was that close to 200 people, if not more, lost their lives. First, let me take you up on this issue of count, because it does appear that this is one of the things that underpins the issue of trust between officials of government and also the people on the ground. Has there been anything to do with improving trust in the area of reconciling the figures first of people who are killed in attacks like this?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mope. There has been. As a matter of fact, the state government and the Homeland Security have been working to ascertain the numbers of those who were killed. I tell you, it's a difficult situation because people were burned, houses were burned. It's not very easy to count, especially when you can't see, you know, very obvious indications that this is a human being. We may definitely miss the count. That I agree. But I can promise you that the Homeland Security, who has the responsibility of ascertaining the number of those who have been killed and those who are fleeing. I mean, we have been quite up to date with those who fled the communities because of the incident. But in terms of this is where we are. I cannot also say to you categorically that these are the number of persons that, number of lives that were taken in the Yelwata crisis. For me, I know that the conflict there will exist because naturally as a country, and not just Benue State, data is something we're still struggling with. And so it'd be important to strengthen that bit of it. But Homeland Security in Benue State, I can assure you, that is working very strongly, very hard to see how they will get the data for those who have been killed.
So precisely, how does your own commission work in an instance like this, where you now know that the people of Yelwata will certainly, and they do have a right to feel aggrieved by what has happened to them? And, you know, it is interesting the different languages that have, you know, come up, you know, the reactions that we have seen. With the reactions we've seen from the president, we don't know, you know, what words he'll use this time around, but a number of people have been quite upset about the words that, you know, were released in the presidential statement. It does appear that they look more favorably on the words used by the IG when he talked about attacks on a vulnerable community. The president made reference to warring communities and how there needs to be an end to the incessant bloodshed and bring lasting peace and harmonious coexistence between farmers, herders, and communities. Is this really a farmer-herders conflict? Or do you think that there is more to it that meets the eye?
But how do you war with someone who is in bed? When you are sleeping, how do you not become a warring person? I think these words or these terms or terminologies are used. Sometimes I don't want to believe they are deliberate, but I think also that it's just a way of communication. Communication can be interpreted in different ways. But people are in their homes, sleeping, and there's an attack on them, and you kill them. I don't know how that amounts to their worrying. I believe that there is someone responsible who should have protected, and there were efforts that were made, but the few security personnel that were in Yelwata to see how the lives and properties of people of Yelwata will be protected. It was inadequate. As the commission, Benue State Peace and Reconciliation Commission, I can tell you that when I came on board 2 years ago, yes, everyone in Nigeria knows that Benue was in the news, not for so much good, but for this same purpose. But for 2 years, only in the last few months have we started hearing these attacks again. Yes, there were small, silent killings here and there that were not as in the magnitude that we have right now. But I tell you, the commission, with the support of the state government, actually, in fact, let me say here clearly that the present administration only inherited this commission. And this commission had been engaging with all the parties. When you say there is no second party, there is. There is a party. Whether they are named or they are not, there is a party. We have been engaging with them. And while we dialogued and we mediated between them, Mokbe, to the glory of God, I think we saw something that was a bit different from what used to be. The only difference is at what magnitude did we engage? Our engagement with the Operation White Stroke, with the DSS, with the communities of security in Benue State that was put together by His Excellency to enable him get to the root cause of this was still working. But we really, really had some level of peace. I would refer you to communities that has broken down again, that had gone back to farm and actually brought out farm produce from those locations. For instance, you talk about communities in Guma local government. There are a lot of communities that went back to farm and were supported by the same group of persons that we're talking about today. By the farming community. The farming community was collaborating because of the peace committees that we were working together with. They're collaborating with the herding community. And they knew that you don't graze over the farm. The farm is something you also need. And we also talked to the youth, and we asked not to rustle the cattle because either of this was going on. Many of it was not talked about. But in these committees, with these committee meetings and the peace committee meetings that went on in different local governments, we saw some return of peace, except that it was not at a very large scale. And I'm not saying that this is the reason why this has escalated. Like we all know, there is so much that a state can do. The principal responsibility is on the federal government to support the people of Benue State in safeguarding their communities, safeguarding the life of Benue people. Everyone in Benue who lives in Benue deserves the right to live. This is a constitutional right. We deserve the right to live, and we deserve the constitutional provision to be applied to us in this state. So it is not going to be fair to think that Benue State, who do not control the main organs that should provide ceasefire and allow the peacekeeping, which I do, come in, to be controlled by the state.
Let me go to Mr. Aleva now. You just said something about constitutional rights, and yesterday we saw the engagement. Mr. Aleva, you already said you're not very confident, based on what has happened with the presidential visit in the past, that this is going to really change much. But what about the engagement that we've seen in the CDS? It does appear that there have been quite a number of meetings pre the president's visit, to try and will I say assuage the people of the state, and also to see how they can review security strategy. Part of it is now this issue of self-defense. We heard the CDS clearly telling traditional rulers that they would need youths within those communities who will be trained by the military, perhaps armed. It's unclear yet, but I want to imagine that whatever training they're given, they don't expect them to go and fight with their bare hands. Do you think that this can change something?
I'm not quite optimistic, and honestly speaking, I am not, because we've seen this before. We don't suffer from selective amnesia. We've seen this. So we just hope that what he proposed is see through it. But honestly speaking, those of us in diaspora, we're tired. We're tired. We are losing confidence in the federal government of Nigeria. We are losing confidence, not just about Benue, but this is very, very sad. You can't have a situation whereby people, politicians, security agencies, they go there and sermonize. You talk so sweet. There's no action on the ground. It didn't start today. It didn't start today. But people have suffered, the entire Benue State, not just the T people, the Doma people, and the rest. The killings are there. We have to react when lives are lost. Can't the Nigerian state be proactive? We should have intelligent gathering where you can be able to stop mass killing. This is unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. And we in diaspora, we have had enough. We're going to stand up for our people. We're going to call...
Intend to do? What do you mean by you're going to stand up for your people? What do you intend to do? How do you intend to be of support to them?
Yeah, apart from providing humanitarian relief down there, we intend to speak loud and clear all over the world. We'll be speaking from the UK to the US, to Russia, everywhere all over the world. Because the truth of the matter is that our people have been impoverished through negligence by the Nigerian states and the confederate units, that they don't have the power or the resources to be able to stand up for themselves. So we in diaspora, by the special grace of God, we have the means. So we'll be loud, we'll go out there and tell the true story. But let me just say something again. I find it very offensive when people use the term farmer headers clashes. It's nonsense. Mark, but let me ask you a question. If I come into your house and I'm consuming a nuisance, and you decide to ask me that, please, can you excuse and leave? And I turn out and start killing people around you, will you be happy? The thief man is a peaceful man. The Benue people are very peaceful, whether the thief or a doorman. We are all peaceful people. Farmers, and let me say this, we are treating this with a kid of gloves. That is a big threat to food insecurity in Nigeria. That is the food basket of the nation. Persistently over the past few years, you're seeing what's happening. So we should be very, very careful. We should stop playing to the gallery. We should go back and treat the root causes of this. People should stay in their own domain. I have never seen anywhere in a civilized world, even in Abuja where you are, Makbe, you see cows on the road. You travel, people travel. Politicians, they travel. You won't come to the United Kingdom here and see cows on the road. Those are personal ventures. So these are the root. People should stay in their own domain. The thief man has never sought an inch of land.
I am online.
We are in Benue State, minding our own. Let me use the popular phrase, common in River State. Day your day, make we day our day. Nobody worry each other. Day your day. So why can't we just have peace in our own ancestral land? Is it so difficult to ask the Nigerian state to protect our people in their own ancestral land? We are law-abiding people. We refuse to engage in carrying of arms and the rest, but we cannot be protected. Our people are being killed every day. Just within the last couple of years, let's say from 2013 to date, we've lost over 5,000 persons. How many people, when you are talking about clashes, how many Fulanis have been killed? How many cows have been killed? So please,
all right,
we need people who will sponsor. It's a challenge from the diaspora. We are going to sponsor journalists, investigative journalists, to go to Benue State, to go to all these communities that have been invaded.
All right, let me come to Madam now. I listened to, if you listen to the report that we played earlier, an extension of it drew attention to some of the issues that the Chief of Defense Staff raised, as we anticipate the visit of the President to Benue State today. He identified, land issues. He identified movement of animals, not really farmer-herder clashes, but the movement of animals into the areas belonging to other people, animal rustling, and he's also, well, maybe sticking with that one for a while because other issues will come up. What do you make of that? Is there validity in those issues that the CDS raised?
I only disagree on the land issue.
The question is for Madam. The question is for Madam, please.
Yes, I agree absolutely with the CDS. As a matter of fact, everything the CDS spoke about made a lot of sense to me, because truly, we have a law in Benue State that prohibits open movement of cattle, and we must respect the fact that this law is the law of the people. It's not even the law of the previous governor. It's the law of the people of Benue State. And we have disagreed with the fact that we do not want cattle on the road. We do not want cattle on our farms. This law is for everyone. It's for the benefit of the herders, it's for the benefit of the farmers. And so if we're talking about a restriction of cattle movement, it's very welcome. It's something we have agreed, we have decided and legislated. It's also true that the issue of land is something that has really, really been the challenge of, even between a thief man and a thief man, land is an issue. We do not agree for anyone to take our land because that is the only resource that Benue people have. And so if you come to contest for us with the land of Benue, definitely there will be an issue. But in this point, at this point, is there a contest? I do not even see a contest. I just see that in real time, there are criminals who have come in and forcefully want to dispossess the people of Benue State from what belongs to them. And a criminal must be treated as a criminal. I mean, justice must have its place, no matter what the piece we're talking about. We will dialogue, we will mediate, but I tell you, without justice, all our mediations and dialogues may not last long. So we must also ensure that both parties, whoever is a criminal, must be treated as the criminal that he is by the laws of this land.
Thank you, madam. But so in that light, as you said, it is that law is the law of the people of Benue State. It's not the law from the federal government. So when people call on the federal government to intervene in a state matter, just the way you are putting it, what's the validity? Add also that to the fact that you just spoke about, land grabbing and whatever it is, the issues around land, whether it's land grabbing or expansionist, as Mr. Leva put it. These are issues domesticated within the state. So what is hindering the intervention? What is hindering justice? Isn't it? If it's a law of the state, what is hindering justice?
We agree absolutely that is the law of the state, but the enforcement operatives are not of the state. They have their roots in the federal government. As a federation, it is on the federal government to ensure or to provide the necessary structures in ensuring that that law is enforced and is implemented. It is not the state. The state does not have police. The state does not have the security apparatus to ensure that the law. The state does not own courts. It is the government, the federal government, that has the responsibility in ensuring that a law that is owned, is a state law, is also implemented by its operatives.
Okay. All right. Mr. Aleva, your last words in 30 seconds on this matter. What are your expectations?
Very clear, Ayo. We want the federal government to put an end to what's happening in Benue State, and we want our state governor to collaborate with the federal government to achieve that. Everybody should stay in their domain. That is the root issue. People who have been displaced, people who are in the ITPs, after 10 years, they've not been resettled. They are all there. Thousands of people. What are they doing about that? And more are being displaced.
Okay.
So we are saying that the federal government, who controls the apparatus of power and coercive force, should put an end to that so that our people can breathe.
All right.
Benue life matter.
Okay, thank you so much for your contributions to this program this morning. Mr. Victor Bembu Leva is president of MOTUC, and he is based in the UK, joined us virtually from there, as well as Ms. Josephine Haba, Director General, Benue Peace and Reconciliation Commission, also joined us virtually from Accra. We appreciate your time this morning. When we return, we take on another similar issue and hobnobbing on a number of items in the news with Laulu Akande when we return from this break.
The Senate, together with the executive, they are the ones that made sure that by Wednesday, which is tomorrow, we will be on ground with a retinue of senators to commiserate with our people in Benue State. And at the same time, more importantly, our intention, because just of recent, we called for a security dialogue in Nigeria, and one of the critical stakeholders, the Senate, together with the House of Representatives, we had made sure that we have done enough appropriation that can aid the performance of our security agents in making sure that the fight, the war against banditry, terrorists, kidnappers, and even Boko Haramists. And nobody can say that the engagements that we have had with the security agencies so far, which are doing about 11, had not yielded results. And we are even tired of paying condolence visits. We must put a stop to it. We are even tired of it. We are even tired of going to today Plateau, tomorrow Benue, the other day Bono. We must find a way of putting a stop to it.
Well, yes, we're still keeping Benue very much on the front burner this morning. And yes, that's the Senate spokesperson, Senator Adara Modu, speaking on what he believes, or what the Senate believes needs to be done with the issue in Benue. And you heard him say that they're tired of condolence visits, even though, well, the president has decided to pay one to the people of Benue State this morning. Well, also joining us on the program, we have Mr. Laolu Akonde, who is a former presidential aide. And Mr. Laolu, it does appear this particular issue, this issue from Benue and Plateau, were really big headaches for the Buhari administration, because at the time, the fact that the president was of the Fulani ethnic origin also complicated how people thought he handled the situation in Benue. Well, now we have a situation where the president is not Fulani, and yet it does appear that the narrative hasn't quite changed. Is there something, this is a narrative, though, that is being resisted by the people of Benue, that this is not what is happening. So it's unclear what exactly is going on. Do you think that there is sufficient intelligence, or is it that we're not quite seeing the picture? Because when the president, well, reiterates his directive to the security chiefs to implement his earlier directive as if they willingly flouted it, which, you know, calls to question a lot of things. I mean, that statement is pregnant with meaning. Right. But then the president also speaks to the governor of the state, asking him to convene reconciliation meetings and dialogue among warring parties to end the incessant bloodshed and bring lasting peace. This is basically what people have said. There are no warring parties here, that this was basically an attack on a vulnerable community. What exactly informs this sort of narrative coming from the presidency?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that it is reasonable to assume that to the extent that the people who are being subjugated and harassed and killed also once in a while will try to assert themselves, you know, which is what is then described as a reprisal attack. But I think that anybody that is suggesting that what is happening is not a consistent onslaught against the people of Benue by some certain intruders, you know, anybody that is denying that is quite, you know, just being ridiculous. What is happening in Benue, you know, and to some extent in Plateau, is a sustained attack on the people in those places. In this particular case, Benue, it's a sustained attack over the years, persistent. And as a matter of fact, it would seem that those who are behind the attack have an agenda. There is a particular goal that they are seeking, okay? So that is the real thing. Now, people call it all kinds of names in order to deflect the issues for all, you know, reasons, ethnic reasons, political reasons, to politically correct. What is happening in Benue is that that part of the country has been under a sustained, consistent onslaught for several years, where essentially the people in the state are being killed, their land being taken over by intruders. Finish. Now, there are other dimensions, of conflict, yes, of course. There are elders and farmers clashes are also, there somewhere. But the main picture of what is happening to anybody who wants to have an objective look is that, look, the people of Benue are under a sustained, ongoing, persistent, prevalent attack against the people and their land.
Just to, also put it in context, I understand that now there's been an update on because initially I think it was 2 days ago, the governor came out to say that about 59 people were said to have lost their lives. He did also say that it was an ongoing count, and right now they can confirm that 151 persons were killed in the Yelwata attacks, with 127 persons buried. 18 persons yet to be buried, 2 in the mortuary at the teaching hospital, while 4 more corpses were recovered from the bushes. Meanwhile, the number of those burnt in the attacks is uncertain due to recovery challenges. So this figure we're looking at, this 151 we're looking at, does not include those who were burnt, who were charred beyond recognition. So one has to ask the question, what precisely will be the motive of people like this? I mean, what will push people to kill people in such an inhumane manner?
And very gory, I think we should shift the attention on those whose duty it is to provide for the security and welfare of the people. Okay, that is what we should, because this has been going on. Of course, it inflicts our humanity. It's an onslaught. It's an assault on our consciousness, on our awareness as human beings. Each time that it happens, this is a very gory picture, but this has been going on forever. So we have to continue to put the blame where it has to be. Those of them in government, both at the state and federal level, particularly at the federal level, who control security, they have to stop this. I heard what Mr. Aleva from United Kingdom said, that, look, I mean, it's as if everybody is conspired against the people of Benue. That is the impression. And to the extent that those of us who are not from those regions, we must also raise our voices. Our leaders outside of politics must raise their voices. What is going on in Benue is something that should bother everyone. And
because today it is Benue, and we don't know whose turn it will be next.
We don't know. We don't know. And this is why we are human beings. This is why we are not animals. We show concern about the welfare of other people that are around us. We can see these things. We hear this news. We read it. We see the videos. It's all over the place. It's important for everyone to call the government that, look, when is it going to be over? What is the problem that we have with government not being able to solve this thing? From my own experience, it seems that the single most important person in this crisis is the president, the office of the president. And you are right. In the 2015 and 2023, when I served, I worked with the vice president, we expected that, okay, President Buhari, being a Fulani man, will be able to talk to his people and bring exactly kind of authority to end it. He did his own little best, but wasn't enough. The ball is now in the court of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to rise up in courage and boldness. The office of the presidency in Nigeria is powerful enough to get this thing over.
What would you like to see? As the president goes to Benue today, what would you like to see?
Well, I mean, 2 important things are, number one, these killings have been going on, and we don't see arrest, we don't hear of arrest, we don't hear of prosecution, and so there is a reign of impunity. So What is happening? Why aren't people being arrested? Why aren't people being charged to court? Why don't we see the trial so that we know that there is impunity? And that goes to the head of the issue. So there's injustice. And so because of that injustice, you see that the people that are supposed to be protected by the state are exposed. And then those who are behind this violence, they are encouraged. They keep doing it. They keep doing it. They just attack anytime. Look, in the last, between February and now, I understand that there must have been almost close to 1,000 people that have been missing, killed, burnt, all kinds of ways that people's lives have been wasted. That is not a joke. Now, all these things are going on because, first of all, there's no law enforcement. There's no law enforcement. There is no prosecution. We have not heard that anybody has been jailed. The chief of defense staff spoke yesterday, and I think that shows that somebody is thinking and said that, look, maybe we have to start to give security training to the youth of the place. Because, that is a man that is thinking. I wish that the president can also rise up and say, look, let us stop. It's not about the president telling the governor not to go to convey reconciliation. Yes, there should be reconciliation, but the first thing that has to happen is that let us show that there is justice. Let us enforce the law. Let us protect the people, and then we will have reconciliation. But the president cannot be asking the governor to bring about reconciliation when the president is in control of the instrument of force, and they can't use those instruments of force to protect the people.
Well, this conversation will certainly go on because we know that, well, when the president visits today, there certainly will be reactions that will come out of it. The people of Benue are expectant, and we certainly, I think at some point there must be a line drawn in the sand to say, look, so far and no farther. Because really, how can we lose 151 persons and we're still counting in one night, in one fell swoop, in one little community?
And it has been happening like that since
consistently.
February.
It is heart-rending. It's very difficult to talk about even as a journalist, but let us hope that, this will be the start of things done differently in Benue State. We have to thank you very much for coming on, Mr. Laulu Akonde. He's a former presidential aide. We'll certainly be bringing you live pictures from Benue much later today, so please stay tuned here on Channels Television. We have to thank you for watching. On top of the hour is Business Morning. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf.
And I'm Ayo Makinde. Do spare your thoughts about people in Benue.